Welcome, Lord David Frost. Thank you for doing this interview with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
For the benefit of our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about your life and what inspired you to come into frontline politics as a Conservative?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've spent most of my life as a professional diplomat, a civil servant, and I specialized in European multilateral affairs. I was posted in Brussels, the UN, in Paris, and I ended up as ambassador in Denmark. I was Europe director in the Foreign Office, that sort of career. But I left because I got frustrated with being a civil servant, and I got frustrated with the European policy that we were implementing. So I went and did something else for a bit, and then I got lucky. Boris asked me back to be his political advisor in the Foreign Office and then in Downing Street, and that's how I got into politics. It's good luck and random chance in many ways.
Many of our viewers have no idea what the Parliamentary Conservative Party currently stands for. Are you amongst them?
Well, I think it's certainly fair to say it's got a pretty broad church with kind of not much religion in recent years. I mean, there are a lot of very good people, obviously, in the Parliamentary Conservative Party, and we wouldn't have achieved what we have achieved without them. But I do think that it's become ideologically too broad, and it feels sometimes like there's no opinion that you couldn't find somebody in the Parliamentary Conservative Party who would support it. And I think we do need to centre down a bit and have some sort of core beliefs, ideological test, if you like, almost for what conservatism is and certain things you have to stand for. We've just drifted too far from that.
What do you think are the key underlying philosophies that the Conservative Party needs to champion?
So I always think of it as three things. We stand for economic growth, and that means we stand for free markets because that's the only reliable way of getting it, and economic freedom and the ability of people to live their lives they wish. We should stand for the nation, and that's what the Conservative Party has traditionally stood for: having a nation, having a government system that works well, controls the borders, spends properly on defense, stands for the right things in the world, government machine that works, and so on. And then we should be standing for freedom. Personal freedom is a absolutely conservative value, and that doesn't mean the kind of mad freedom that a man can become a woman, or any reality defining freedom. It means the right to pursue your own life as you wish, with your own moral beliefs and aspirations, and try and make a success of it.
What does CCHQ and the Parliamentary Party have to do now, in your opinion, to try to reconnect with the grassroots and also with the wider swing voters out there who voted for you in 2019?
There's a thing that I call the red wall fallacy, I suppose, which is the belief that because we got a lot of ex-Labour voters in the coalition in 2019, we therefore need a lot of ex-Labour policies to keep them happy. And I think that's a total misreading of what has happened. What happened in 2019 is that we reconstructed the coalition, which historically has always been successful for the Conservative Party. It's a national party. We bring in people from all parts of the country. And what happened in 2019 is that a lot of people who were in every way conservative in lifestyle, belief, aspirations, all kinds of things, actually then finally voted Conservative. The hold of Labour, for historical and other reasons, was broken. Now, if people vote for us because they are Conservatives, then I think we should do them the honour of believing that and deliver some Conservative policies. So I see the problem that 2/3 of our voters have drifted away since 2019 as being we didn't give them what they thought they were going to get. And the right way forward is to have proper conservative policies, core beliefs, that will bring people back to the party. And, everyone has probably a different sense of exactly what the priorities are, but we have to find the right mix and bring these people back. And at the moment, we're not doing that.
What do you think the Conservative Party should be doing in terms of implementing measures, policies to win back those people that you just said you've lost?
There's so much that the country needs that, the task really is about prioritizing and working out the right order to do things in and the linkages between them. And setting out the tasks is easy. Of course, we've got almost no time left now. This is really about the kind of manifesto and trying to give it credibility that I hope might bring some people back. I would say on the economic side of it, we do need to get tax and spend down. We've got to cut spending. We've got to cut taxes. There's no future for the country as a social democrat economy. We need to build more houses. We've got to get a grips with the planning system. We need to deal with the catastrophe of the way we're approaching net zero, which is just driving industry out of the country and imposing high costs. We've got to do public service reform. Everyone knows the NHS can't continue as it is. European countries often have much better systems. We need to work out a way to do that. We need to roll back regulation in employment, planning, environment, all the things that have come back. So there's a lot that needs to be done.
There's been a lot of disquiet, I think it's fair to say, about the whole issue of candidate selection for the forthcoming general election. And equally, there's no secret about the fact that you would like to be considered as a candidate. What can you tell our audience about your own plans and your own views generally on candidate selection?
Yeah, so I think many of us have a concern that we are still bringing in new candidates who, are not necessarily the most committed Conservatives ideologically. Now, of course, we don't know about a lot of the people who have been selected, and it is unfair to generalize about those who are coming through the system. But I do think there's reason to be concerned that some of the things I talked about earlier in terms of a broad spectrum of opinion, lack of real conviction, might turn out to be the case with some of the new candidates as well as some of the current MPs. I do wish there was a stronger kind of, I suppose, ideological test as people come through the party, the candidate selection system. I mean, perhaps there is, and it's just one that doesn't select for the correct core Conservative beliefs. I don't know, but I think many of us are a bit concerned, and of course, time is quite short to do much about that now. My own view is, I've always said, or I've said in the last few years, that I would like to try and get a seat in the Commons. The Lords is not where you do real politics, although it is definitely an important place. I am on the candidates list. Obviously, if I were to become an MP, I'd have to resign the Lord's seat. You can't be in both places at the same time. But I need to make sure that it's a seat I believe I can win in the right kind of place. And I need to be confident the party would let me run at such a seat and be selected for it. And I'm not 100% confident of that at the moment, which is a pity, but there's still time.
Do you think there is a bias towards one nation type Conservative candidates?
It's very hard to tell because, we don't know about the opinions of everybody who's being selected. And, the most successful MPs have sometimes come from the most unlikely sort of backgrounds. You can't really tell. I think it is true. What I would say is I think that localism has become extremely important in candidate selection. And, localism sometimes quite rigidly defined. And what we're seeing is that local councillors, often very successful ones, are the kind of people who are getting selected. And of course, being an MP is more than being a local councillor. So, maybe it's not so much ideological one nationers as people who may not have the right perspective as MPs. But as I say, you can't tell till it happens. The party should be trying to test for this now so that we know.